those I want to introduce. Now let's see. We also have some friends from way back, and a lot of them originated on Brushcliff or in Churchill. And so would you all like to raise your hands for the lines? The Joneses? Where are they? The Joneses?
Right there, Barbara's right there.
Yeah. As a little aside, Don Jones is over here. Don invented the mechanism for the stent that's in my heart this moment.
I had you in mind.
And it is. So that's pretty wonderful. Now let's see who all did I see the.
Mom, what about your Southern?
Oh, okay. Now, in case you couldn't tell, I'm from the South. And I have my wonderful sister here tonight, Sherry. Where is she? Right here. And she's lots older than I am. And what about your family, Sherry?
Lainey's here. I'm right here. Laney Burns.
Laney Burns is here. And have I left anybody else?
Diane and Eleanor and the Bacalls.
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet. I said Diane and Eleanor already. And also, in 1979, when Jews were first coming from Russia to this country, somebody called us up and said, "There's a family in the William Penn Apartments, and they're saying, 'Where are the Jews here?'" So we figured we didn't know if we'd like them or not. So we invited them for dessert. It wouldn't take too long. We'd get rid of them. We've done our duty. But anyhow, they've become an integral part of our family now. And I'd like to introduce all the Bacalls.
Raise your hands.
Raise your hands.
Connected to them.
Or even if you're connected to the Bacalls. So, did I leave anybody out?
Myron, Bacall.
And there's
You left out your
Peggy's
son-in-law.
parents.
Are you part of the family?
Alicia's parents.
Almost.
Yes, well, Lucy's one of the Churchill friends.
And then,
Alicia's parents, and who else? There's lots of people.
We also have friends. We also have friends that I can't see, and they're out of my sight.
There.
and Jan.
My neighbor Jan, who lives 2 doors away, and I couldn't do without her. And my friends David and Brian. And David is a member of my writers group, and Brian is a very good friend, and we adore them all. They're very good friends of ours. These 3 guys are lifesavers. So, did I miss anybody? I know Peggy's family, Alicia's family is over here, but that counts with Alicia. So, so is there anybody I missed out here? Of course, Rabbi Simons and Ron.
Well,
And
Linda Lavin and her daughter, I think they've already been counted through Steve, but did you mention Linda Lavin?
well, I said
Okay.
the.
Okay.
That's okay.
I'm not sure.
First of all, I'd like my 2 daughters to stand, Susan and Sally. And their children, who are my grandchildren, to stand. Where are the grandchildren?
Great-grandchildren.
All right. We'll bring them up and then cause less trouble. So, I want to thank, I want to tell you a couple of our bat mitzvah stories. When I was studying for my bat mitzvah, and I went to New York, and I was practicing out loud, and Andrew, my great-grandson, I would ask him to help me with my Hebrew, but he couldn't because he read too fast. So Leah said, "I read Hebrew like my grandma, my Bubby." another bar mitzvah story is Sally. When I was complaining about, oh, I'm working so hard, she says, don't give me that, Mom. She says, I know you'd do anything to have a family reunion. So I learned something very important from this bar mitzvah, Banot mitzvah. That's a plural, by the way. It took me a long time to learn that. That you get more attention by not being there than by being there. Thanks, Rabbi Sam. Anyhow, I love all of you. You mean very much to me. And I'm so glad you're all here. And I want you to make yourselves known to Rabbi Simons. She is a wonderful lady, but don't tell her I told you. She really worked with us for such a long time. And with all our pains and moaning and groaning, we said we couldn't. She said we could. And by gosh, she was right. We made it. So thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, we're not quite done, so get comfortable, Sally.
Okay, so,
You have your thing?
I do.
Here.
So Susan and I were trying to think about a few words that we wanted to say about Mom as we were thinking about the bat mitzvah. And boy, it's sure been a week, hasn't it, Mom? And I was, trying to think about some of the things that Mom, some of the lessons that I learned, and some of the good things that she's done for us. And really, one of the things that I remember the most as a child, that when I would be going out, almost every time before I left, I'd say, bye, Mom. And do you know what she would say to me? And I wonder how many of you have heard her say this. And it is, be a good person. And it's so true. It means so much for her to be a good person in this world. And she wants all of us to be good people in this world and to do good. And in that vein, Mom has taught us so much about that. And also, one of the things I'm just forever grateful for is that she taught us how to volunteer. And my whole family has volunteered in their lifetimes, whether we're volunteering now or we have volunteered in the past. And it's just been a big part of the Bedrick legacy, and it's because of a Pollock who taught us that. And we're all just forever grateful for that, Mom. The other thing is that I wanted to ask you, how many of you remember Queen for a Day? Oh, yeah. Do you remember that TV show where these very sad people would come into, it was like a quiz show, and if they would say what the most horrible story was, and you'd vote, you'd clap.
The worse it was, the more you
The worse
clapped.
it was, and I think they had like a clap-o-meter, and the person who got just the worst. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is when we were little, my brother Larry, on Mother's Day, he would gather us together, and we came up with the idea for every Mother's Day that we would have Queen for a Day. And it wasn't because Mother had the most miserable story. It was because we wanted to treat her in the most special way. So I have some things that if Rita could bring over.
This is how we used to do it, too.
And this is exactly how we used to do it. The first thing I want to say is that every year for Mother's Day, Mom and Dad's anniversary, for Hanukkah. Mom, do you know what Dad got you every year for every holiday?
No.
Do you remember?
He always got me a bathrobe.
Yeah.
And I never found one.
Yeah. Every year, every occasion, Mom got a bathrobe. So Mom would dress up in her new bathrobe, and Larry would take us out into the garden, and we would get her irises from the garden.
Or dandelions.
Or dandelions, as the case may be.
Oh,
And then the next thing that we would do is that we would find her a blanket, and we would wrap it around her shoulders. And it was kind of like so that she could walk like Queen Elizabeth with a big train. And so she would put that on. The next thing that we would get her is a scepter. And that was her scepter, and she would march around, and she was just so wonderful about it. And the last thing that we did is that we would make her a crown, a paper crown. And we have
she needed
something
it to
more
get high as
special
much.
today. We finally got Mom